Hello, hello. Good. Well, it's actually good evening. It's about 6 o'clock. This is Black Bean Samson. This is February 14th of 2019. How's everyone doing? It is a good Thursday. Actually, just got a work interview for pretty decent industry. Making decent money. Well, I'll be glad to be out there working and fixing things again, once again. This time, actually, instead of small equipment, I'm going to be working on industrial large equipment. So that's pretty cool. But I want to talk about this border wall issue and how the Democrats are they're just being. I don't even know any one good word to give the Democrats at this point. How evil do you have to be to think that 400 and some million dollars worth of border wall funding is all helpful? Less than 100 miles worth of fencing. I mean, this is getting outrageous. This is the blatant corruption within the Democrat Party, and I would say partially with the Republican Party too. But it's blatant corruption. I mean, there's blatant that they don't want to step on the foot that votes for them. It just so happens to be the people that cross the border. What else? Why else would you be against a border? There's zero moral argument that can be made to say that a wall would be a bad thing between nations. We're not talking about splitting America in half with a fucking wall. We're talking about dividing one nation and another nation. And it just so happens one nation tends to leech off of another nation far more than the others. There's no equal share content. There's no equal share value between these two nations. That wall needs to be put up, and it will be put up. So Trump, to sign border deal, declares national emergency, and it's about I'm supporting that 100. Shut the fucking government down. Shove this $400 some million deal right up the Democrats' fucking ass. Tell them to go shove it, and then make them look like the assholes that they really are. Just keep on doing it. I mean, they already make themselves the assholes that they are just with this. So I'm going to read off here right underneath this video. It says, President Trump will declare national emergency to fund his demand to build a border wall. It's actually our demand. It's the real patriotic people of America demand. And it's been the demand for, what, 30, 40 fucking years? Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced on Senate floor Thursday, and we're going to watch the video here.
Speak with President Trump, and I would say to all my, just had an opportunity to speak with President Trump, and I would say to all my colleagues, has indicated he's prepared to sign the bill. He will also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time. And I've indicated to him that I'm going to support the national emergency declaration. So for all of my colleagues, the President will sign the bill. We'll be voting on it shortly. And
All right, so you just heard from Mitch McConnell's own mouth that he is going to support President Trump, which is good because I think just a few weeks ago or something, there was something happening there where I think it was they were trying to say Mitch McConnell was actually against the president on something like this, or I don't remember. It was a few weeks back, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure this sounds like more fake news since there was zero source, zero evidence of it, or even him saying it. And it's like these people always have a camera literally attached to their ass that they don't even want attached to them. But I mean, this is the case, so it's like, where's the video? I mean, you should have the evidence if he said this, but they don't. So it's great that he is backing him up, and he needs the support And I'm pretty sure that he will get the majority of support from the Republicans on this. There might be a few, they're not even worth mentioning off the top of my head. One ran for president, and I can't even remember his name because, fucking Romney or whatever. Like, that guy, I don't even, how can you vote for that guy? How can you vote for a man that talks about being a Republican and literally backstabs Republicans? Why would you vote for such a person? How could you ever trust such a person? That's like saying, I'll give you a raise or a better position in this business, but because your family member works here too, you got to fire them. Why can't they just not want to work for me? Why aren't they just able to move on their own? Like, what? It's a one of those moments that's just jaw-torquing. When you have umpteen years of them saying they were going to do it, and they never do it. Never, and they have every goddamn excuse in the book, pretty much. There's no more excuses. They say they don't have enough money. Well, then why you're sending $30-some billion to a foreign nation? I don't understand that. I think that's Israel, actually. Well, why? To any country at that. I don't care if it's one dime, one penny, or 10 million, or 30-some billion. I don't care what that tag of price is. I don't care. My problem is that money is leaving this country when we have these issues in this country between our border, between homeless, between transportation, the roads, the infrastructure. All right, let's move on here. The White House affirmed Trump would sign the package minutes later in the email statement from Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. President Trump will sign the government funding bill and has stated before, he will also take other executive actions, including national emergency, to ensure we stop the national security and humanitarian crisis at the border, Sanders said. And I would make a claim that it is humanitarian to put up a wall to stop the crime from crossing the border and then harming our people in this country. In addition, it's preventing people from crossing the country or crossing the border that leads to potentially hurting themselves through starvation, through dehydration because of the long travel throughout the very heated desert. I mean, just... Of course, the Democrats don't care about the 1,000 people dying every year at the border or trying to cross the border. What they care about is that 10,000 people that are going to make it who are potential voters. That's what they care about. But they will never speak up about the ones that are fucking dying. That's the thing. They save the babies. Yay, abortion. Don't split the children from the parents by hey, abortion. Like, don't split the parents at the border, but yet you're going to split them up by letting them die by the 1,000 every year. That's just... All right, move on here. The spokesperson added that Trump is once again delivering on his promise to build the wall, protect the border, secure our great country. A remark appeared to be aimed at conservative critics of the agreement, who said it does not fulfill Trump's campaign pledge to build a wall along the southern border. You're right, it doesn't. That's why he's going to do the national emergency. McConnell, who reportedly advised Trump not to declare national emergency, said he will support the president's action. Of course he will. Like, McConnell has never had such honor distilled onto him, essentially, until Trump has came in. Like, there's a lot of people that are finally... I never even heard of McConnell until Trump. Maybe that's because I wasn't in politics as much as I am now, essentially, or at least pay attention, but... the guy was just never really spoke up about it until really now. Like, not as much as... I even listened to Rush in the past, and I never really heard him talking about McConnell as... I mean, he's mentioned his name quite a bit now. The Senate Majority Leader said the President will also sign a congressional deal that provides $1.375 billion in funding for the border barriers. The Washington Post reported earlier this month that McConnell privately cautioned Trump not to use a national emergency power to fund the wall because it would face opposition from the Republicans. So this must be what I was talking about before, that he said something and somehow Washington Post and a bunch of other fake news media websites or businesses, corporations, decided to make it and twist it that McConnell was going to go against the president. Well, guess what? Once again, all you fake news media were proved wrong again at, what, the 1,000th fucking time? But the GOP leader changed course on Tuesday when he encouraged Trump to sign an omnibus spending package made up of 7 spending bills that provided up to a fraction of the $5.7 billion Trump had demanded for the border wall. Well, at least with the 1.375, and then there's half million essentially, or as $500 million. That'll be at least $2 billion right there. So that's something. At least he's doing something. It's better than anything that past administrations I can think of. When they promise something and they actually push and push and push to do it, none of them. They're just like, we can't do it. I don't have enough votes. There's nothing I can do. I don't know how to play this chess game well enough to overcome your guys' stupidity. All right, but the GOP leaders changed course on Tuesday when he encouraged Trump to sign an I already read that, didn't I? I think he ought to feel free to use whatever tools he can legally use to enhance his effort to secure the border. So now, no, I would not be troubled by that, McConnell told reporters. His staff later clarified that a national emergency declaration is a legal tool at the president's proposal. But the administration said it prepared if the courts intervene. Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer signaled immediately the Democrats will fight Trump. There is a word the president will declare national emergency. I hope he wouldn't. All you had to do is give us the fucking money that you were supposed to do it. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do, Schumer. But that's not what you want. You want those votes. You want power. Trump already has power. He doesn't fucking need votes to have power. Schumer, you need votes, or you don't have power. That would be very, very wrong thing to do, he said. Yeah. It's funny that anytime these people speak up, these Democrats, whenever they go, that person over there is bad, you know they're talking about themselves. They're just doing straight up projection. Speaking, Nancy Pelosi separately issued a warning to Republicans saying if Trump declares a national emergency to build a border wall, that the next Democratic president could do the same to address gun violence. Oh my God! Did she just threaten to remove our Second Amendment because we built the wall? Building the wall is not removing our constitutional fucking rights, you stupid fucking cunt! A Democrat president can declare emergency, as well as Pelosi told reporters in the Capitol. So the precedent that the president is setting here is something that should be met with great unease and dismay by the Republicans. Well, guess what? Guns are not affecting people at the same rate as fucking illegal immigrants. They're not affecting our financial institutes as fast as illegal gun crimes. All right? This person is. This is one of those out of touch. I was just talking about this with someone. The culture of corporatism, and I swear between polls, pretty much the whole Democrat Party and some of the Republican parties, they're in this what's called the culture of corporatism, the corporate culturism, or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter to me. It's this culture that was created through corporate people, and it's kind of like this elitism, you know, rather than being a multi-billionaire elite. You know, as long as you're running a big corporation or part of a big corporation, you're kind of part of this culture, which is just eating up this fucking country alive. It's just dividing and destroying everything that they claim they're pushing for, progressivism, and they donate a bunch of money. It's a whole another story there. That this culture that's being created by corporate people. It's like these people who have zero touch with reality think that because of their success that they should just be able to push that onto everybody or something. It's disgusting. Pelosi declined to say Thursday if Democrats would launch a legal challenge to Trump's coming emergency declaration, though House Majority Leader suggested the previous day that the Democrats would bring such a challenge. You know, what's interesting too is that it's interesting that Pelosi says that up here that they could declare an emergency. Okay, so when the next Democrat gets in and does some stupid shit like that, well, the next Republican gets in, will do the same fucking thing. Pelosi, doing evil will never solve fucking evil. But of course, trying to explain that to evil, it's like going one ear and out the other, because all they want and all they do is evil and for evil. Sanders on Thursday said that White House is ready for an illegal challenge from Democrats against a national emergency declaration. We're very prepared, but there shouldn't be. The president's doing his job. Congress should do theirs. She told reporters outside her office in the West Wing. Well, I kind of feel that is the way the Congress should have done that before this new Congress. Why is this? Why is it that Congress has no ability to truly act no matter what team takes over? Is it because the people who pay all these people, no matter what side of the team? You never heard of the thing that there's a person that plays both sides of the war? I have a feeling someone's doing that with the Democrats and the Republican Congress. Someone's playing both fucking sides to control Congress. Because if you control Congress, you really control a great deal of what happens in this country. Senate Appropriation Committee Chairman Richard Shelby, who spoke to Trump on Wednesday evening, said his support the national emergency action. It quickly became apparent on Thursday and Wednesday that Trump would not have enough money to meet his goal simply from reproposing funds. Some GOP lawmakers said he could draw on a $800 million defense fund dedicated to drug interdiction, but a substantial portion of that money, more than $200 million, was already being used for ongoing anti-drug operations, according to Republicans on the Senate Armed Services Committee who requested anonymity. Senate Republicans have warned for weeks, however, that I'm going to go back to that. Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee who requested anonymity. Why is anybody able to even request anonymity when they're working with the Republicans? That's weird. There's something I'm not understanding, but it doesn't matter. Senate Republicans have warned for weeks. However, an emergency declaration will be the subject of lengthy legal battle and likely will be blocked by a federal judge until a junction be by an appellate or the Supreme Court. It probably will go to appellate or to a Supreme Court because there's a lot of activist federal judges. It's like these people who are set up these lawsuits against Trump, they do what's called shop for a judge. So instead of going to the judge that's in their county, they'll actually go find a very liberal, Trump-hating judge. And then they will hand this document to the judge and be like, block it. Do whatever you need to do to block it. And then they do. And then it has to go through all this bullshit, which costs us more money and wastes more time, even though it's going to get pushed, and everything that these judges have ruled against, these federal judges, it's been overruled every single time. I mean, at what point is it not harassing or straight up attacking our president through a justice system, using our courts as a tool for attacking our president? It's fucking disgusting. All right. The emergency declaration is subject to a resolution disapproval, which must pass both chambers and receive Trump's signature. House Democrats who control the lower chamber are expected to pass the resolution, and Schumer can force a vote on the Senate floor because it is privileged. McConnell has expressed uncertainty over whether he can stop a disapproval resolution from gaining a simple majority to advance to the president's desk, but he feels confident he can muster 34 votes to sustain a presidential veto. I think there's a different opinion about it. And if he goes that route, we'll just hash it out. McConnell told the reporters February 5th when he asked about the possibility. The president could win anyway by vetoing the bill and then trying to get enough votes to sustain it, so he may ultimately be able to prevail on the national emergency alternative, he added. The White House left GOP lawmakers in limbo for hours on Thursday afternoon as the president's lawyer combed through the bill, which spans more than 1,000 pages. We are reviewing the bill, which we received at 1 a.m., and it's over 1,000 pages. And as soon as the president makes a decision, we will let you know. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders told The Hill when asked about the holdup. Acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney on Sunday said that the president would take money from the whatever source available to build the water wall that became the flashpoint of 35 days government shutdown in December and in January. We'll take the money as you can give us, and then we'll go off and find the money someplace else legally in order to secure the southern border. But this is going to get built with or without Congress, he said on Fox News Sunday. He said that the whole pot is well worth north of $5.7 billion, referring to the amount that Trump requested to the wall. Less than half, 1.375, will come from appropriation package Congress is poised to pass Thursday. The rest will come either from using the presidential transfer authorities to reprogram funding or from the national emergency. Senate Republicans say whether or not they back the national emergency declaration will depend on how it is structured. It will never. It could almost be structured in a way that supports every immigrant and DACA person that's in this country right now, and they still wouldn't. It's because they know that the amount of immigrants in this country is still not enough to take over power, to turn this country into a socialist, communistic fucking country. They want to destroy everything what America used to be. They don't act like it. Well, I should say they don't say it, but everything they've been doing is pretty much been acting that way. I mean, when you attack our Second Amendment, when you attack our First Amendment, those are fundamentals of what sustains all the other Constitution. So when you remove those, why would you want to remove those? It's really interesting. Only people who seek power and want to maintain power seems to always want to remove those two very things. Is your right to speak and your fucking right to defend yourself. He got constitutional power to do that, Shelby said when he asked about Trump's emergency declaration. Asked if he would back the move, Shelby said. Probably, but I'd have to see what it is. I think we have to secure the border, he added. So several Republicans immediately expressed concern over Trump's plan and declined to say how they would vote on a disapproval resolution. Because you know why? Because they know if they go against Trump at this point, it's done. It's done for them. They will be one-termers. If they just got in, they're done. If they've been in this, they're done. And I really hope these people really start showing their fucking faces on what you want. You want America, or do you want some new fucking country? Those are the two choices that you're going for. You want America, or you want some new fucking country. Pick. One's an enemy, one's a patriotic. I've expressed my concerns about declaring an emergency just in terms of its presidential impact, but also the practical difficulties, said Senator John Cornyn. All right. If there's a lawsuit, Cran, I'm going to call him Cran. If there's a lawsuit and the money gets tied up, it's not a very practical solution to the problem. No. Which is why this should be blamed on the Democrat, you weak fuck. I mean, you're probably a good guy or something. I have no idea who this guy is. But the fact that he thinks that's the problem, no, that's showing the fucking truth of the Democrats. The more and more we try to cure cancer, the more and more they try to stop us from curing cancer. Senator Susan Collins said the declaration will be challenged in the courts and is of dubious constitutionality. I don't know what the fuck that exactly means, but it has undermined the role of Congress and the appropriation process, and it's not a good policy. No, you're right on that. So why aren't you supporting for Congress to open their fucking minds and their hearts and realize that the wall is more important than their fucking power hunger? Republicans on the Armed Service Committee are raising concerns that the emergency money will likely be pulled away from military construction projects. It's a bad idea because the president said Senate Republicans on the Armed Service Committee most likely maybe only fund he can allocate from the military construction fund, and that hits readiness and a lot of military installation. Reading quotes there is it's an interesting. All right, Senate Armed Service Committee Chairman James Inhofe said Trump could build more support for a national emergency declaration if he releases a letter assuring lawmakers that the money will not be taken from military construction projects. All right, I think that last part's pretty much just saying that the Armed Service Committee people are worried about Trump taking money from the military service like that for the national emergency or for anything to do with that, because it sets a precedent where in the past presidents wouldn't really reallocate money that was already aimed for the military to something else. But the thing is that the border is right now is like pretty much a warfare. And the fact that some armed service committee person is acting like there's not drug cartels crossing with badass weapons, and there hasn't been like essentially bombs and rocket launchers being launched at our border security, to sit there and say that's not like a warfare that's happening with drug cartels is fucking, it's small-minded. It's small-minded, and it's most likely you were probably a person who has a background in voting for Democrats, if that's the type of idea that you think that securing our border is somehow a bad precedent. I mean, I don't care where that money comes from. At this point, I don't give a fuck. I don't think anyone gives a fuck. I give a fuck about the children. I give a fuck about the women. I care about the men. I care about just the families and the businesses in this country and the financial institutes. And they're being destroyed due to these illegal immigrants coming over here and just using and never really providing. Okay, just because they fucking work does not mean they're actually providing for this country like I am or like you are. When they're literally sending half of their money back to wherever I forget what the hell they call that, not reparation, or whatever the hell that word that they call it when they send money back. That's essentially that's stealing money from this country. It's stealing money from this country. Goodbye money, no more here. That money is being spent somewhere else now. It has zero value in this country. That's not good. It's not good, people. I understand that a lot of people don't. They just think that money just fucking grows on trees and value just goes on trees. But it's like, imagine if you had gold and you had a limited amount of gold and you were handing gold out to all your citizens, and suddenly these legal people coming in your country, you start handing them gold. And they weren't spending that gold in the country, which means the gold pile doesn't kind of maintain. Essentially now, gold coins are leaving the country. So now that gold pile that's in your country is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Is that analogy working for you people? Because that's exactly what's fucking happening. Except it's in a digital world where people can't fucking see that intangibleness. They can't see that in actually real world. And that's part of the whole financial... There's a whole compiled reason on why all this is kind of happening. You got a bunch of people who agree with it, who are in the financial institute. And then now you got people in the financial institutes who wants to censor people like me, who's speaking up the truth about them and about the evils that they support, and the people that they support, what the evils that they do. So this is where I'm just going to pretty much leave off here. It's the border walls are going to get put up, no matter what. It might be a battle. It might be a fight, just like every fight that we've had with the Democrats so far. But they lose every time. If you have ever noticed, every time someone seems to really set up a business model or even individually attack the president with very harsh rhetoric, or anything close to that, or even people who are supporters of Trump, if you ever notice, it's only a matter of time, but their lives take a shit. Their lives take a major shit. That's because when evil attacks good, it's kind of like karma. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time that it meets up with them. It's only a matter of time of all their evil finally catches up and bites them in their own asses. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this podcast, please still like and subscribe. Also, hit the little bell down below for notifications when I post a new video. Thanks for listening or watching. Have a great day. Bye.